Look at this. Super chat starts first by Mel, who says, hashtag 49ers, hashtag diehard Niners fan. Thank you, Mel. I love watching footage of Jamal Hasty. What are your thoughts? Could he step up if we wind up trading Mostert? For those of you who don't know, Jamal Hasty is the running back that they, I guess, they didn't draft. He's an undrafted free agent out of Baylor. Of course, I covered Baylor. I called Baylor football games. I've seen a lot of Jamal Hasty. And I've said before, I love him. Now, the problem is he's too far down on the depth chart. He's the other two undrafted free agents that you see on your screen, not even mentioned. He's got to get behind McKinnon and Wilson and Coleman and Mostert. So even if Mostert is traded, he still would be at best running back number 4, and there are 2 undrafted free agents. So does it guarantee him a roster spot? No, but I saw enough of him in college, again, playing against Big 12 defenses, to tell me that he can play in the National Football League. He's short, he's quick, but he's very, very buff and has a very strong base and can break more tackles than it looks like he would be able to, which I think would fit the 49ers mold very, very well. The 49ers have a very good offensive line, so he will have created a lot of holes. The problem really is Jeff Wilson Jr., because Wilson Jr. is a lot higher on the depth chart and has given you actual NFL game experience. So don't expect Hasty early on, even if Mostert is traded, but maybe if he proves himself towards the latter part of the season, you need some guys to come in there. I think Hasty can actually step up if they do wind up trading Mostert, which at this point is still a big if. We have no idea if they're going to trade Mostert or not. Good question, though. Good question. John asks, would you rather sign Jordan Reed or give Mostert more money? Ooh, that's a good question, because would Jordan Reed sign for the amount of money that you could have given, which is $2 million? That's what Mostert wants in terms of make Mostert better. I'd rather have Raheem Mostert, if I was going to be absolutely honest with you. Now, I've said before, you don't need him, right? Coleman, McKinnon, Wilson Jr., just said Jamal Hasty. But for as great as having Reed on the team would be, Mostert's a lot more proven, and he's a guy that they like on the football team, right? Jordan Reed's some outside guy. You come in, it's like, is he cool? Is he not? We don't really know. Whereas Raheem Mostert worked his way up, became the number 1 running back, and is a big fan, or they're a big fan of him in the locker room from what I am told. So I'd rather keep Mostert, but again, is he still an expendable player? So one or the other, give me Raheem Mostert. Let's see. Atticus asks, will George Kittle get the money? I think so. I mean, there's zero indication that the 49ers have any plan to not give him money. There have been zero rumors this offseason of the 49ers not keeping George Kittle. They're going to keep George Kittle. It really just depends on when and how much. And I've said before, it was supposed to be $20 million, which was outrageous. Then we heard $17 million, which is still outrageous. Then we heard the best news ever, $13 million, and that George Kittle would not be holding out. So $13 million, George Kittle not holding out, I'm all for that. The question is when. I don't think it's a question of if, but I just can't tell you when, because I absolutely have no idea. But a good question overall, Atticus. I hope it's soon, and I would think before training camp, but these things tend to take a little bit of time, and here we are. It's like July 16th, so it's going to be a little bit. Let's see. The talent list asks, you're probably tired of this question, but is there any news in Jamal Adams news? What would be the perfect trade? I am tired of this question, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to answer it. So there is no new Jamal Adams news. I thought Jamal Adams was going to happen this week. It's now Thursday, and it's still not happened. It's very much like, I would say, the Raheem Mostert thing, whereas the 49ers don't want to trade Mostert, the Jets don't want to trade Adams, and they don't really have any incentive to do so other than the fact that he's going to leave whenever he becomes a free agent. The depth chart right now for the 49ers is good to go. Like they don't need a safety. Tartt's going to be just fine. I would like to have him, but I think the only way you make this work is if you trade D Ford to be able to free up the $14 million in cap space that he's due. And the only way you do that is if you trust the guys behind him. We've talked about the depth on the outside of the defensive line is not that great. So I think they're a little bit worried about that. So the Jamal Adams trade idea going to San Francisco right now is probably like a 10% chance. Not impossible because they have made phone calls, but I'd say it's more likely not than actually going to happen. Okay, before we go to the next question, get your questions in right now. Deal alert right now. These are brand new on these sweet 49er phone cases that work literally for the iPhone 7 up to the current generation iPhone 11. Now on your screen right there, I think it's an iPhone 10R, but they make them for like more than likely the phone model that you have if you have an iPhone. They also come in the Samsung version as well, and right now they are on sale about 20% off. Chatsports.com/49case is the place to pick those up. They got those. They got the one with the stripe right here, and then these, the clear ones with the logo and the nameage and the signage as well. Again, iPhone 7 all the way up to iPhone 11, and then Samsung Galaxy line phones as well. The link will give you guys more description down in the description box, but they're on sale and they look sweet, make your phone look good and rep the 49ers. Let's see. Love the name of the next question. Niners every day. Will Nick Bosa get more than Myles Garrett? Myles Garrett got a lot of money. Did you guys see that? Myles Garrett cashed in yesterday as the Browns gave him, I think it was a 5-year, $125 million deal. Now, when you compare that to Myles Garrett, or you compare that to Nick Bosa, you would have to say that Nick Bosa will get more money because when Nick Bosa's contract is up, which is his rookie deal in 2 to 3 years, it'll be more salary, there'll be more salary cap in the National Football League. So yes, it will be more. It won't be a lot more, but 130 million plus is going to be very, very likely. Remember, Myles Garrett is fantastic, and he's one of the best pass rushers in the entire National Football League. Also almost got suspended for the rest of his career, and they still gave him 125 million. Remember Mason Rudolph bunking on the head, just a really bad incident last year. So even with that being said, you can basically guarantee Nick Bosa will get more money unless he, I guess, ends up stinking the next couple of years, which we know he won't. So yes, he will get more. It won't be a lot more, but it will be more. Austin, I think the 49ers will sign a wide receiver. We talked about this earlier in terms of Jarius Wright. They can, and there are some very mediocre, average ones out there that they could go get if they need bodies. But I truly am going to trust Deebo Samuel, who's been on his Instagram Live multiple times, say, hey, I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to be there for week 1. If that's the case, then I wouldn't. Right now, if you get to training camp and you get Brandon Ayuk on the field and he's in front of the coaches and Jalen Hurd back on the football field and Trent Taylor, who's promised he's going to be healthy like 80 billion times, if they stink in training camp, then yeah, go get somebody else. But of course, you spent the number 25 overall pick on Brandon Ayuk. You spent an early 3rd round draft pick on Jalen Hurd. You spent it or picks on all these players you spent picks on. You hope they're going to eventually turn out, and I think that they do. So no, I don't see them getting one, but they can if they need to, and that's important to know. Let's see. Bree Mack asks, should we move on from Jimmy to sign Kittle? Move on from Jimmy Garoppolo? No. What? Who's going to throw him the football if you sign George Kittle? No, absolutely not. Plus, it's way too late in the offseason to trade him. Like, who's going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo right now? No, not happening. Next, move on. Next question. Let's see here. We'll get the next question up in 1 second. It's just not going to happen, right? Like, who's going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo 2 weeks before training camp? The answer is nobody. Jason asks, let's see. The talks of a smaller cap next year have me worried with all of our other young guys. Are we in danger of losing some big young names to the cap? Not necessarily, because next year in 2021, you do have some big names that are coming up, but none of the big young stars. So like Sherman's deal is up next year, and Sherman might get one final 2-year contract, but it's not going to break the bank. Now, you got Trent Williams' contract next year. That could be an expensive one, but Bosa, Warner, Samuel, trying to think of another one here. Any of the other cornerbacks besides Sherman, majority of your young players are not going to need new contracts. So I'm not too worried about it. And the NFL, I'll be surprised. The only way it loses money is they don't play this year. And I feel very strongly that they're going to play this year. So I wouldn't worry about it yet, but we'll cover it next offseason. So subscribe and stay tuned for that coverage, right? How about that little plug? Speaking of subscribing, that way next year, when we talk about the 2021 cap, you guys are subscribed. Just go ahead and get ahead of the game right now. Click the red subscribe button down below. We're at 26,156 subs here on the best YouTube channel for the 49ers in the entire world. Help us get to 30,000 subscribers today. Subscribe and click that notification bell at the same time. Also, while you're at it, follow me on Twitter at Thomas Mott. Let's see. Roland asks, are we going to make a big trade next season? Example, the Buckner trade. Geez, it's really early to tell. Future Thomas is probably going to be reporting on this in 2021. The Buckner trade surprised me. I'll be honest. I did not see the Buckner trade coming after seeing what you got out of it, and basically was Javon Kinlaw. I loved it. I think the trade was fantastic. I don't see who you would trade. I'm trying to think of a player right now that would make sense to trade. The Buckner one made sense because he was at the end of his contract, right? So you didn't want to re-sign him. Whereas next year, are you going to trade Richard Sherman's expiring deal? Or are you going to trade Trent Williams' expiring deal? No. So I don't see a big one, but I didn't see the Armstead one. So who might have say that wouldn't happen? I don't know. Let's see. The Mike asked, how would you like to see Deebo, Ayuk, Hurd, Kittle, and Reed on the field at the same time? They would have to run the football a lot less than they did last year with that lineup. That's a pretty darn good lineup, especially if Ayuk and Hurd play well at the same time. That would essentially be a 12 personnel. It means 2 tight ends in the set. Something the 49ers did not do a lot of last year, but this would be spreading them out. So you would put Kittle in the slot. You can move Reed out to the outside. And that's the beauty of Jordan Reed. He's essentially a bigger and slower wide receiver who can catch the ball across the middle. So I'd like to see it. But the 49ers do want to run the football, and with that lineup, you're not running it as much because you got to get the ball to your skill players. So we'll see. The Reed stuff, it can happen. Will it happen? 40% chance, 25% chance. I'm not going to give it a massive chance to actually happen. Now, what will happen next year is these two players will be on the football field, right? Knock on wood, fingers crossed, like spin around, whatever you got to do. Hopefully they're going to be healthy for training camp. Who will have the biggest potential? Who has the best potential right now? Type A for Brandon Ayuk. Type H for Jalen Hurd. Both, I'm excited for both. I'm biased. I'm a Baylor guy, so I'm a little more excited for Jalen Hurd. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. More potential for like a better career. That's what we're asking here. A for Ayuk, type H for Jalen Hurd. All right, we'll keep going. Let's see. Justin, what is he asking here? Justin is asking, do you think no fans at games is a good thing or a bad thing for the 49ers? Exact example, won't play in Seattle. I think no fans in the stands, it makes it a completely even slate. Like, it doesn't hurt somebody more than it hurts other people. It doesn't help somebody more than it helps other people. Why? It's going to be very weird. These guys are not used to playing in front of nobody. Like, scrimmages and practices and stuff like that, but they know there's scrimmages and practices. When you get to a real NFL game at Levi Stadium with nobody there potentially, they're all going to be weirded out. Seahawks, 49ers, whoever else is there, Cardinals. It's going to be weird because they are used to 65,000+ fans screaming at them, which has happened throughout their college careers, more than likely, and in their NFL careers as well. So I don't think it'll be good or bad for anybody. It's just going to be weird for all of us, even us watching at home. But a good question. Okay, favorite part of the show. Shout out your city. All right, where are we watching from right now? Where are you sitting in and around the world, right? So we're in the world. Where's your city? Who are you watching from? Shout out your city in the comment section down below. I, as always, am in the city of Atlanta, where it is extremely hot and very still bright outside, but a great city nonetheless. Is anyone else in Atlanta? If you are, let me know. If not, where are you guys watching from? Producer Dylan's in Dallas. He's far away from me. You guys are probably far away from me too, so give me your shout out in the comment section right now. I want to know where you guys are watching from. And while you're doing that, follow me on Twitter at Real Thomas Mott. You want to DM me questions? You want to talk on outside of the live show? Follow me on Twitter right there. There's my Twitter handle at Real Thomas Mott. Okay. Patrick asked, do you see the 49ers moving on from Quan Alexander and D Ford to save cap space? We have cheaper players that are serviceable at their positions. Yeah, the answer to that is yes. If you were to pick one player who you would think would be the #1 trade target, that would be D Ford. As he's old, didn't play a lot last year, and cost a lot of money. But Quan Alexander is up there as well because Drake Greenlaw stole his starting spot. Like, Drake Greenlaw will be the strong outside linebacker, the Sam outside linebacker, whereas Alexander will start at the will. Now, doesn't mean he doesn't play, just means that Greenlaw plays a lot more. The problem with trading D Ford is that you're then starting, I guess, Ronald Blair at the other DN spot, which, you know, does that get you very excited? Does that like get you pumped for some pass rushing abilities? No, but you still have Bosa, Kinlaw, Armstead, and Solomon Thomas, so you should be okay. So either work. Alexander doesn't make as much as D Ford does, but both with rip and cap space. So yeah, I agree. If you're gonna free up cap space, that's probably the right place to go to.